to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, you are listening to episode 79, Stop Thinking, Start Doing. Before we get started, take a moment to hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts so that you never miss a show. I've got more great episodes planned for 2020. I am not slowing down, even with COVID-19. I'm still cranking out shows, so make sure that you subscribe and leave a review as well if you have benefited from this show. I would greatly appreciate it. So I hope you guys are hanging in there. I've been real intentional about my topics lately, and last week's show, if you missed it, was a great interview with career coach Lisa Edwards, and we were talking about managing your mind and thinking and how you can get through difficult times like this. We're still going through the quarantine of coronavirus, at least at the recording now in early April. So this show, I intentionally put in this slot here at this time because I think it piggybacks on that message a little bit. It's continuing to talk about thinking and your mind and your emotions and, what happens to us when what I think is overthinking happens to a lot of us and relying too much sometimes on our thoughts and succumbing to them. And I'm sure you've heard it said that if you don't manage your mind, it will manage you or it will rule you. And I think that that is very true. So what I want to do today is offer you a perspective on this and talk about how are you managing your mind right now? What is the relationship that you have with it? Are you using it right now to still be happy and productive and move forward on your goals as best you can? We all have different situations. Or are you succumbing to despair and negativity? We're all feeling this crisis in different ways, yet kind of in the same way too. But I don't know. If you're like me, you've got this voice in your head, okay? And we all have it, that damn voice in our head sometimes that just doesn't be quiet, right? It's our thoughts, it's our brain, our mind, whatever you want to call it. What kind of relationship do you have with that voice? Well, like I said, if you're like me, you're thinking all the time. I have one of those crazy nonstop active brains that's always planning or analyzing, dreaming something. I've always been very future focused. And so for somebody like me, especially right now, who's very future focused and a planner, having so much uncertainty could really just derail me, right? With everything going on with the virus and not knowing what's happening 2 or 3 days from now, let alone 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 years. So it would be very easy for a brain like mine, I think, to succumb to this nonstop chatter and let it turn into fear and panic and anxiety. And while not all of this has been easy for me, I have to say, I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm very aware of it, and I want to share that with you today to help you to get out of your head a little bit, because your brain just wants to be busy. It needs a job to do. And if we don't intentionally and thoughtfully give it something to do and to be busy with, well, it kind of goes into the dumps, right? It goes into the negative, and we start thinking and thinking and thinking. And then we start worrying, and then we start doubting, right? And then we start to become less active. We take less action because our thoughts and our feelings are down. And it's just this spiral effect. So I want to talk to you today about managing your mind at all times, but especially right now, to help you maintain productivity and maybe even thrive, right? Maybe even reach some goals or make some progress and still advance your career, because I truly believe that you can still do that right now. You might need to spend your time doing things differently than if this virus had not been going on and you weren't quarantined, but that's okay. You can still be productive, even if it's not quite what you thought it was going to be. So let's talk about thinking a little bit. So there's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show is because I see people overthink things a lot. I'll be talking to somebody about wanting to start one of my programs and they need to think about it, right? Or maybe they know they should be getting themselves out there and applying for jobs, but they talk themselves out of it. They think about it. They overthink. They overanalyze, poll the audience, phone a friend, whatever, all at the expense of their own progress. And one of the things we talked about actually in the interview last week with Lisa that I'm going to reiterate again today is that your brain's job is to protect you. Right? It's a primal instinct that you have. It's always looking for ways to keep you safe and keep you comfortable, keep you away from, bears and snakes and fires and things like that. And that's what it's supposed to do. But in modern society today, we're beyond that, right? Sure, there's still physical threats to some degree, but now we're allowing our brain to let us be afraid of asking for a raise or changing careers or public speaking or whatever it might be. These things that don't actually have any business making us afraid because they're never going to kill us. They're not actually any kind of threat to us whatsoever. But we allow our brain to think about them way too much. And your brain serves a good, noble, useful purpose in that respect that, yes, it's trying to keep you safe. So it's constantly scanning your environment for threats, right? But if you do not control that and use discipline and discernment, you can have thoughts that run rampant in your head. And I know this because I've experienced this. Believe me, I have, okay? I've had plenty of times where I become obsessive about things that may not ever even happen, right? And I know I'm not the only one. Have you ever just had these thoughts that will not go away, that just persist and keep you up at night, worrying about something that hasn't happened and may not even happen at all? I know you have. This show is for you. You can control that. So I want to talk about thinking versus just taking action and how taking action can actually be a remedy for that, okay? Like I said, your brain is there to help you navigate the world and make sense of things and essentially survive. But it's not there to keep you from taking action or trying new things, but that's what we let it do. And I think the biggest problem with overthinking is that it puts you in a state of waiting. Waiting maybe for proof that something will work. Waiting for someone else's permission. Waiting for just the right amount of money or the quote perfect timing. Whatever you think you are waiting for, all you are waiting for is for yourself to stop thinking about it and take action and choose a path, choose a direction. That is it. Waiting is the worst state of mind that you could possibly be in if you are trying to manifest anything in your life or change a habit. You do not want to be in a state of waiting. If you want a new job, you want a promotion, you want a raise, whatever it might be, you should not be in a state of mind of waiting, because waiting doesn't get results. Action drives everything in life. So I want you to stop thinking, because you've been doing plenty of that. I know I have. And start doing. If we don't, we will be perpetually just trying to look for proof that, we'll be okay and we'll be successful and it'll all work out. And then we'll never get started. You've heard it said about having kids, right? If you wait for the perfect time, you'll never do it. It's true. If I had waited for the perfect time to start my business, leave my job and start my business, I would have never done it. I created the perfect time by doing it. So, a lot of people, I understand it's not just quite that simple, right? They're not like, oh, thank you, Lorraine, for telling me that I need to take action. Like I didn't know that, right? You probably already know that, but you're afraid to take action. And I get it. I get it. There is risk involved in action. I understand. I've been afraid of taking action in the past. A lot of people are afraid of what will happen taking action, and that's why they say they need to, quote, think about it. But they don't need to think about it, okay? That is rarely true. Ask yourself, what exactly is it about that issue that you need to think about, and how will continuing to think about it get you closer to achieving it? Really, ask yourself that. Specifically, what do you think you need to think about, and how will more thinking solve it? Will it? The thing is, thinking is only the first step in the process of making anything happen. If you don't eventually act on it, nothing will change. And you'll continue to go further and further down the rabbit hole of your brain and basically drown in your own thoughts. And I say this with love because I've been there so many times, but so much less now these days. I have a much better handle on it, but always more and more levels that I can get to myself as well. And I wrote a book on this, a short book. It's actually for sale on my website, and it walks through this full process in a lot more detail too, about how you can manifest anything. And it starts with your thoughts, but then it progresses to your feelings, and then an action, and then your results and your expectations, which is really similar. Yet again, I love this tie-in to the interview I did with Lisa Edwards last week. So if you missed last week's episode, you need to go back and listen to that. That's episode 78, a really, really good companion to this episode, which, to be honest, I did not do on purpose. So that is synchronistic. I love that. But it starts with a thought, then it becomes an emotion, then an action, and then the results come after that. You must think, feel, act, and believe in that order every time. You can remember that, right? Think, feel, act, believe, right? Pretty simple. So let's take a quick commercial break, but I have a lot more when we come back. And I'm going to talk to you about how this ties into that whole law of attraction thing that I'm sure you've heard a lot about. And I'm going to expand upon this and tell you how you can start taking more action. We'll be right back. Hey there, my listeners. We're on a short break, and I have a question for you. Are you looking for a new job, but you don't know where to start? Or maybe you've been searching, and it's taking too long, and you're not getting any results. Many clients don't know how to launch an effective job search, and they spend months or even years looking. Well, I have a solution for that. My coaching program, Career Jumpstart, teaches you my proven 3-step strategy that has landed hundreds of clients amazing new jobs in about 60 days. In this program, I personally will guide you on how to confidently and authentically market yourself to employers, resulting in a better job faster. If that sounds like what you've been missing, head over to careeruprising.com and apply for my Career Jumpstart program today. That's careeruprising.com. All right, let's get back to our show. So one question that people might have is, how does all this tie into the law of attraction? You might be thinking, wait, Lorraine. I hear all this and read all the books about the law of attraction, which say my thoughts are so powerful, right? That my thoughts are so important and I need to change my thoughts if I want to change my reality. You've heard all of that. And maybe you read the book, The Secret, and all of those things, right? So all of that is true. All of that is 100% true. Thoughts are incredibly important and alive and real, and they're good. They're the foundation for everything. But that's just it. They're only the foundation. They're only the first step. They have limitations. You can't build the foundation of a house and then stop. You're not going to want to live in that, right? You think about things all the time that don't come true. Why is that? Why do some things that you think about come true and some don't? What's the difference? Well, the difference is in the other steps that are missing in the process. Feeling, taking action, and believing and truly expecting it to be different. These steps work together in tandem. By themselves, it's not enough, any of them. Because first you have a thought about something that produces an emotion, then that emotion makes you more likely to act on it in a certain way. And when you take action, you're exponentially more likely to actually believe that something's going to happen, and then it's going to happen. Whether or not you feel it, act on it, and truly believe whether it's possible is what will determine whether or not it's possible. Let that sink in for a minute. Now use what I just said and think about your career or any area of your life that isn't what you want it to be. Can you honestly tell me that you're not just thinking about what you want to be different, but you're actually feeling genuinely excited, taking massive action towards it, and fully expecting it to happen? Come on, be honest. Are you doing all 4 of those steps? Are you doing all of those things right now during the COVID? Imagine how that could change your experience of that if you applied this concept to it. Most people don't consciously and strategically use this concept on a daily basis. Most people operate pretty much on default every day, assuming, well, there's not a whole lot we can do to change our circumstances, right? No, but you can change your experience of those circumstances. Remember, thoughts are very important and powerful, but action is where thoughts really become real. Life can be about waiting and thinking about opportunities, or it can be about creating them. I think a great example of this is when people say they want to, quote, find more balance in their life, as if it's just going to be found. Like I found a nickel on the ground, right? You have to create it. You have to follow these steps to make it happen. That one word can make a big difference. You have to create opportunities and take action. When you do that, you're giving yourself exposure to whatever it is that you want. And the way that you do that is to think about it for a little while and know when to stop and start taking action. If you never apply to new jobs, what are the odds that you'll get called back for an interview? Nilch. If you don't ask for the salary that you need, are they ever going to offer it to you? No, they're going to think you're fine like you are. If you don't promote your business, are clients ever going to find you? Maybe 1 or 2. If you don't tell the other person that you're sorry, how will they ever know? Right? Apply this to anything. It's simple, yet it is difficult to put into practice. These are just a few examples, okay? But action is the key to change, and it can be the most difficult part because there's really no risk involved in having a thought, right? You don't even have to tell anybody. You can think whatever you want right now. Keep it to yourself. There's no risk. Even a feeling you can keep to yourself and not share with anyone else. No one knows about it but you. You're nice and safe, nothing to lose, right? But action involves risk. Action is more visible, and that's why it scares us a little bit. What if you quit your job and start a business and it doesn't work out? What if you lose 50 pounds, but then you just gain it all back? What will people think? How will you find the courage and the motivation to start again after, quote, failure? All of these fears keep people in the first 2 stages. They just have thoughts and maybe some desires and feelings, but they don't act on it because action is where accountability sinks in. Accountability to others and to yourself. So when you're deciding whether or not to take action on a desire, that in a thought that you have, you need to ask yourself, what is your decision based on? Am I making this decision just based on fear and my brain telling me don't? Or am I willing to take a risk and make a decision based on hope and creating a new future? Two people can take the same action for totally different reasons and different intentions and get different results. One person may leave their job for a new one to take a bigger salary. Maybe the next person leaves that same job because they want more fulfillment and creativity. They're doing the same thing, but they're getting different results because the intention matters. All of it, the thought, the feeling, the action, it's all lining up together. All right? Many of us are living this way. We're really afraid to put ourselves out there and shine bright and take action. Personally, I want to live big. I wouldn't be talking to you right now if I hadn't had the courage to take action in my own life, if I hadn't lived all of these words, okay? And I think that one of the biggest things that people are afraid of too in taking action is, I hear this a lot from clients, is, well, I don't know the right action to take. What if it's not right? I don't know the right choice or the right path. What's the right career for me? I don't want to make the quote wrong choice. But I think that it's just up to you if you want to look at it that way. There is no right or wrong. There's just what you choose. And I truly, truly believe that action in any direction, even if it's a teeny little baby step, is far more productive than just staying where you are. You will always get closer to the solution by doing something and taking any action versus just being idle. That is the only thing that I would really be concerned about. And I've coached clients on that exactly and said, the only thing I don't want you to do is be idle. Take any other action. Just use your intuition. What is your best guess? If you had to decide right now, you were forced to make a choice, what would you do? I want you to do that. Okay? Action in any direction is more productive than no action because you will learn and you will course correct. So you don't need to worry about, is it, quote, right or wrong? Because you're the only one making that judgment call anyway. There is no right or wrong. It's up to you if it is. You're labeling that. So that's another reason why I want to push you out of thinking mode and into action mode. You can do it. So for help with the thinking part a little bit, and because it is important to reframe your mindset, okay, not just at a conscious level, but a subconscious level. It's really got to happen there. I have made it very clear on this show, I use a lot of meditation. I use a lot of visualization. It's a part of my daily spiritual practice, sometimes in the morning, very often in the evening, sometimes in the middle of the day if I feel like I need it, to take a mental break. I do meditation, I do journaling, I do a lot of those things. So that can help you with reframing your thinking. But when you're done with that, I want you to take even a little baby step of action towards whatever it is that you want, okay? Because that is the only thing that is ever going to get you towards your goals. Nothing hinders the process or holds you back more than being idle. Okay? That is it, my friends. I hope that you stay safe and healthy with everything going on in the world. I hope you're taking care of yourself, and I'm available for coaching as always. I've always been doing virtual meetings. I will continue to do so. You can find me at careeruprising.com, and you can sign up for my email list by going there as well. And I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I will be back soon. Take care, guys. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show is brought to you by inflowradio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.